Hey yo, I'm Ayo, and today we're playing Invite Me In. I don't honestly know much about this game. All I know is I saw it on Itch.io, and it looked like a Yandere thing. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm into that. Let's do this. Let's play it. Read content warning or continue without warning. This is a horror game demo. Induce fear, blah blah blah. We don't need a content warning. The hell with that. I have to know your name. It is your name. Your name. As the sun finally sets, the lengthening shadows all begin to blend together until everything is covered in darkness. My path is only illuminated by the occasional streetlight, and I start to become nervous again, like something bad is about to happen if not treated with caution. I start picking up my pace as I get closer to home. I didn't plan to be out for so long, especially not at night all by myself. The grocery store bag clutched tightly in my hand seems much heavier, even though it only carries the sole jug of milk that I desperately needed before leaving the house earlier. Now I'm wondering if it was really worth the trip. Turning the corner just leads to another dark road. I debate whether I should slow down to prevent tripping or just break out into a run here and now. It's just a couple more blocks, then I'll be back home. For some reason, nagging at the back of my mind, that didn't feel like an appealing solution either. If something dangerous really was out of view, going back to an empty house was just like throwing a blanket over your head to keep monsters away. It's moments like this I wish I didn't live alone. But I'm probably just anxious for no reason. I don't have any evidence that someone is really trying to hurt me. Just these paranoid feelings in the back of my mind that I should ignore. I really have to stop trying to freak myself out. All it's doing is causing me to lose sleep, which makes me even more on edge. Focusing on getting home is the only thing I need to worry about for now. Then I can eat dinner, chill out, and finally get some much-needed rest. Just as I was about to turn down the last street, I see a figure sitting next to the sidewalk a few feet in front of me. I immediately stop walking and try to get a better look before going any closer. I hear the blood start to pulse faster in my ears. They are almost fully hidden from view, so I didn't see much of a chance to see them from further away. And they are perfectly still. I feel the fear rising in me again and stay frozen in the same spot, my muscles tense, wanting to see if the stranger makes a move. They do nothing, and since it's so dark, I can't even tell if they've seen me or not. Though I keep getting the feeling they're staring right at me. It's terrifying, but I can't just stand here forever. I want to go home. Swallowing the lingering, morbid thoughts, stirring up some bravery, I began to walk again until I'm only a couple feet away from the stranger. Once I'm closer, I can finally make out some of the vague details of their face, his face, and we make eye contact. I flinch back a bit. The lights are flickering in my place. That's not cool. I flinch back a bit after seeing him look at me, but then I start to notice something strange. He's curled up in the grass, clutching his arm tightly to his body, and I began to hear his heavy, uneven breaths over my own. He's hurt. Badly. As soon as I see the state he's in, I'm not only more worried than before, but also heavily concerned for his well-being. Hello? Can you hear me all right? Are you okay? What happened? For a moment, he just keeps looking at me. His expression is unreadable. This far from any light source. His expression is unreadable this far from any light source, but he must feel scared too. He doesn't respond. At this point, I feel he may be really, really injured. Maybe he can't even understand me. Just as I reach into my pockets to try and call for help, he finally speaks up. Something happened to me earlier. I was just trying to walk home and I'm a bit hurt right now. A bit hurt. He doesn't seem like he's doing well at all. Do you need help? Can you walk? He leans forward and begins to push up on his arms, like he's trying to stand up, but quickly winces and sits back to his original position. It hurts. My arm really hurts. My legs are okay, though. How did you hurt your arms? Is anything broken? Broken? I didn't break anything. He shifts uncomfortably on the ground, trying to move his body to a more upright position. He looks at me a bit nervous. It's easier to see his face like this. A bit cute, too. Pretty pale, a little scary. Pretty pale. He says nothing is broken, but I feel something else is definitely wrong. It seems his injuries are causing him a lot of pain. I don't really know what to do in this situation. Do you need me to call an ambulance or get you a ride to a clinic? If it hurts that bad, you may need some serious help even if you don't think it's broken. No, it hurts a lot, but this isn't anything worth a trip to the hospital. I'll be fine with just a bit of time to rest. Is he really going to be okay like this? I want to help him out, but maybe he really just needs some time to recover. Are you sure you'll be okay? Yeah, I appreciate the concern, but it truly isn't an emergency. Well, okay, I'm glad it's not that bad then. You should really be more careful. Getting injured on the side of the road this late is really dangerous. You're right. I'm really glad you're the one who came along. It seems like I had nothing to worry about earlier. To think I was so scared of him. I thought I was going to end up being mugged or murdered, but it ended up being a total overreaction. And now I'm just having a normal conversation with a stranger sitting in the grass. Well, that isn't too normal. But I still don't really know anything about him, and he still seems pretty worried too. Should I tell him to calm down a bit more so I could help better? He isn't going to tell me anything like this. What's your name? My name, it's Devin? I've never seen it spelled that way. He seems really shy about it. I feel kind of bad asking now. That's a really nice name. It suits you. There's no way. I think your name is much nicer. My name? You don't know my name yet. Should we say, wait, what? Or thank you? How do you know my name? I didn't tell you it yet. Oh, you didn't? I'm sorry. I must have thought you said it already and it slipped my mind. I feel a bit embarrassed. I hope you didn't think I'm insincere now that I complimented something I don't even know, but I'm certain your name is nice. That's all I was trying to say. Sorry to confuse you. It's fine. I was just a bit caught off guard. So, what's your name? I feel a bit hesitant to tell him now, but I really shouldn't fault him for an honest mistake. It's name. Name. That's a nice name. Just like I guessed. Devin is now more focused on his sudden blunder than the pain he's in, which is a bright side. It seems that conversation helped a bit, even if it's somewhat awkwardly. He looks off to the side, trying to distract himself. Talking to a stranger like me seems to make him pretty nervous. As a sort of anxious reflex, he begins to mess with the sleeve of his sweater. He ends up wincing in pain after pulling on them too hard. Seeing someone be miserable like this, I can't stop myself from asking him about it one more time. Do your arms still hurt to move? Yeah. Devin tries to move his arms again, but then gives up quickly. He pulls them back into his lap into a comforting position. Will he be able to make it back somewhere safe soon? It's horrible his arms hurt too much to even make it home. I feel the best way is to hurry up this interaction is to help him out quickly and then head on home. And the more he sits here in the dark, the more feelings of pity begin to surface. Talking to him has been a bit weird, but I can't help the gnawing feeling of concern for some reason. I just feel bad leaving you here like this. Here, let me help you walk a bit closer to your house. You shouldn't have to sit here in the dark. My house is still a bit of a walk away. I should be fine. I feel better already after talking to you. I may have seemed a bit too worried after all. At least let me walk you to a bench nearby to rest. It's better for you than just sitting on the ground. You'll help me? I really appreciate that. I just need some help standing up, then I'll be okay to move on my own. Helping him out seems like an easy enough offer, but actually finding a good way to lift him up gracefully was a harder task than I guessed. Setting down my grocery bag of lonely milk on the sidewalk, I walk a bit closer to Devin. We both look at each other, trying to figure out the best way to go about this. I want to lift him up without hurting him or making him uncomfortable. Eventually he moves his legs until they are bent under him, almost in a kneeling position. Then I move beside him and wrap my arms around his torso. As I increase the pressure on my hold of him, his breathing becomes even more labored and unsteady. His body becomes incredibly tense despite how carefully I've tried to lift. Are you okay? I'm trying not to touch your arms too much, but let me know if anything hurts. It really doesn't hurt that bad. I can barely feel it. Feeling a bit more reassured after knowing he's okay, I give him one final lift until he's up on his feet. Hopefully you're all good to go now. Is there anything else I could do to help? We did it! Anything else I could do? I'm here if you need any. Before I can finish what I was about to say, Devin begins to wobble over after trying to stand on his own. I quickly reach over to hold him steady, and he ends up leaning back into my arms, clutching my shoulders to keep from falling. What happened? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you sure? I could call someone for you or get a ride to a clinic if something is wrong. I think it's just my blood pressure after sitting there for too long. I'm fine. Honestly, fine. Do you think you could try walking on your own, or is that too much? I think I need a bit more time before walking on my own. I could just sit back down if it's too much trouble for you. I'd be lying if I said I'm not a bit tempted to take him up on the offers. But a small sense of guilt stops me from being back on my promise to help him. It's not too much trouble at all. If you're okay with it, you can lean on me for a while we walk to the bench. I don't know how much you feel like moving right now. If I have your support, I'll be okay to move. Okay, I'll try to walk slowly and not put too much strain on you again. We move in a side-to-side position where his arm's over my shoulder as I wrap my arm around his back. The walk continues at a steady pace as we get halfway down the street. I feel Devin's breathing as he pushes against me for stability. It seems still to be quick and heavy. His body also feels cold and damp. Just how long had he been there by himself? Is he really okay? I look over and glance at Devin's face, which is completely pale with a smile crept across his lips. The image is almost frightening with the state he's in. Like he doesn't even care how bad his condition is. No, like he doesn't even care. He notices me staring, and his unreadable gaze meets mine in an instant. I feel he could read every thought and intention running through my mind. Suddenly, his eyes soften, and his grin turns more friendly, but the off-putting paleness is still there. You really are too kind to me, even helping me walk. For a second, I feel I can't move. I can hardly breathe without looking at him directly. As I said, no trouble. I have to force myself to turn away from him and continue to focus on walking. But I can still feel him right next to me as my heart hammers faster in my chest, and I pray he doesn't notice. Maybe I'm just imagining it. Maybe it's because we met in such a weird situation, but he looks at me differently than anyone else I've ever met. I strengthen my resolve and begin to push forward again. We finally get to the end of the street and turn the last corner. The bench is just a few feet away. Here we are. You should be able to rest right over there. I gently pull him over until he's safely able to sit down on his own. He seems a bit shaken up still, but he's much better off on a clean bench near a streetlight than on the ground in the dark. Thank you for taking me all the way here. It was so considerate of you. Even though Devin says that, he doesn't look relieved at all. I feel a bit guilty ending it like this, but just how much more could I really do? Hell, he didn't even want me to do this much. I'm glad I could help. I really hope you feel better soon. It was nice to meet you, Devin. Just as I'm about to walk away, his hand suddenly grabs mine. We could just let go of me. Did you need something else, or Devin, are you alright? I immediately turn around and hold his hand in my own while trying to be gentle with his arms. What do you need? Did you change your mind about calling for some help, or going to the doctor? I don't want you to have to suffer alone, so I don't mind waiting here with you. Devin looks up at me with wide eyes, like he wasn't expecting this at all. As I begin to sit down on the bench next to him, he finally pulls his hand away and stops me. No, I didn't change my mind. Thank you, though. I just wanted to let you know. I want you to know. You left your milk behind earlier when helping me. You probably don't want to forget that. My milk! That's right, I totally forgot. I guess I got distracted helping you. I almost didn't remember to go back for it. Thank you for reminding me, Devin. What would I have done without you? He quickly became flustered again and shakes his head a bit. Didn't you say I'm the reason you got distracted in the first place? Maybe so, but it wasn't like you did that on purpose, so I'd still say you're pretty helpful. Devin looks off to the side a bit embarrassed. I'm going to go grab my milk now, but let me know if you need anything else. I'll have to walk back by here to get home anyway, so I'll see you in a minute. Yeah, see you in a minute then. I give a small wave and start to jog towards the corner where we came from. I make a turn and begin walking back down the previous road to where I left my milk. I'm really glad that Devin said something because I would have felt so ridiculous once I got home. It was the only reason I came out here and went through this wild evening after all. It only takes me a few seconds to find the lonely bag sitting on the sidewalk. The time makes me realize just how slow we were walking before. A distance that felt like it took ages to traverse was really a short jog. I quickly glance over to the milk to make sure it's still in good condition, and the jug looks perfectly fine. It was only out here by itself for a minute, but better to check than drink bad milk. I scoop up the bag in my arms and start heading back. I should really say bye to Devin before heading home and check on him one last time. I run back to the bench and see him sitting there just as I left him. Well, something seems a bit off. He seems just as unwell as ever. In fact, he's not even looking at me now. Is he ready for me to just leave now, or does he even know I'm here? I step a bit closer so I'm right in front of him, and try to duck down to get one last look at his face. Well, I got my milk, so I'll guess be headed back home now. As I said before, it was nice to meet you. Get home safe, alright? Just as I'm about to leave, I finally notice the dark stains forming all over his sleeves and onto the rest of his clothes. Earlier, they were small enough that they couldn't be mistaken for shadows. They could be, especially in the dim light, but now it seems much more obvious. Is that blood? Now it's impossible to ignore it. The panic hit me like an anvil as I feel my heart drop. I looked down at the arm I had used to support his body when we walked over here. There was a smudge of crimson streaked across my hand that I didn't see earlier. He was bleeding. He was bleeding so much. It didn't seem possible. How did I not notice how bad it was? There was blood dripping down his hands now. Did I make it worse? Did I hurt him while carrying him here? No, I didn't mean to hurt him. Will he be alright? I lifted Devin's shoulders to get a look at his face. His eyes seem hazy, like he might pass out soon. You need to get to a hospital immediately. I'll call an ambulance. Why didn't you tell me you were bleeding this much? What happened to you? It's just a little bit of blood. A little bit of blood? This seems like much more than a bit. Is it really that bad? Are you worried about me? Yes, now show me how you got injured. I walk closer and try to reach over to grab his hand. Suddenly, Devin moves up to the bench and stands in front of me. Name, please just listen to me. I need help, but Devin seems to inhale deeply, like he's trying to raise all the courage and willpower he has. I want to rush over to help him sit back down safely, but I feel frozen in place. I just examine his face, waiting for a sign to grab and steady him again. His eyes glance at mine, shifting from assessing to pleading, like he really wants to, needs to, tell me something. He still seems physically weak, but it's almost like he's even more energized now, like something in the past few seconds totally revitalized his conviction. We both wait as he finally gets his bearings. Will you please hear me out? I hesitate a bit, but my curiosity and suspicion makes me want to hear why he's been acting so strange this whole time. Maybe he really does have a good reason, and I can't deny he truly needs help. Yeah, now listen. Devin steps a bit more into the light and raises his arms halfway to the air. Jesus, yeah, he's all bloody. It's like he's trying to reveal the injury without moving his sleeves, like he's trying to shield me from how bad it is. But all I see is more blood, and he seems to sense my concern. I didn't want to worry you too much, but it seems that the state I'm in looks quite bad. To be honest, it hurts really bad too. He grimaces as he looks down at his arms. Maybe he didn't even let himself think of how painful it was before. I didn't want you to know. My arms are so much worse than I let on. Then why didn't you let me call for help? Someone did this to me. They were trying to hurt me. Someone hurt you? Who? Devin looks at me with a pained expression, and then he stares at his arms again, looking at the stains forming along his sleeves. A stalker. A stalker? What? Are you being serious right now? I feel my blood begin to run cold. Out of all things, a stalker? It's true. I didn't really know what was happening until it's too late. Next thing I know, I'm on the side of the street and bleeding. My arms hurt so much, but I couldn't move. I was afraid I was going to be found again and killed. But then you found me instead, and I felt safe. I hope you understand, but I really can't go to the hospital like this. I can tell my attacker would know that's where I'd need to go, and they'd try to find me there. So, I'm too afraid, just the thought of it happening. I was about to argue with Devin, but seeing the fear in his eyes and the way his body is shaking, I don't have the heart to disagree. It's okay, Devin. I understand. You're not going to call for help, right? No, not if you don't want me to. But why can't we call the police? You might be in real danger. Police? I don't really think that's a good idea. It makes me too nervous. Plus, I don't even think they would take me seriously after not believing me before. Looking at the blood continuing to drop from his hands, I feel it's hard to not take Devin seriously at this moment. But if he feels so certain about it, I shouldn't doubt him about this either. There has to be some solution, right? He can't just deal with this by himself and risk getting hurt even more. I want him to be able to get help. His life could be at risk, and I don't think I could go home only to see him in the news tomorrow. Then what are we supposed to do? You can't keep walking around like that. I just need someplace safe. I really don't think I could just be home alone while someone is after me. Then if there were some basic medical supplies, I can make it work. I've patched myself up from worse. This feels like an inadequate solution, but my mind is racing too much to think of a good alternative myself. I may end up regretting this later, but one thing I know for sure, I can't just leave him like this. I may be terrified, but that's nothing compared to what Devin is going through at this moment. I've been on edge these past few weeks with thoughts someone had been watching me, but he's been living it. I feel a bit silly trying to relate. I can't help but feel a sense of connection though, like it was fate that I happened to be the one here to help him. If anyone would know what it's like to live with this fear and how it can affect you, it would be me. And wouldn't I want someone to do the same for me if I was ever in such a dangerous situation? As I've been going through my reasoning in my mind, Devin had just been staring at me with a hopeful expression. If you need some place to go, you could come to my house. Really? I could come to your house? I have a first aid kit I bought recently. I'm not sure how helpful it will be, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, that'll work fine. Sorry, I can't believe you're really helping me. Me. I'm not going to leave you out here alone, just to hand you off to people you don't feel safe with. I really do want to help you, Devin. I find myself meaning those words. We stare at each other for a moment, assessing this bizarre situation that's been laid out in front of us. But the look on his face, he seems so happy, ecstatic even. It just shows that I definitely made the correct choice, right? Or did I even have a choice to not help someone in this much peril? It doesn't feel like I did at all. I try to push down any feelings of uncertainty and move on to the next objective. So, we shouldn't stay away for too long, right? This is kind of dangerous. Yes, you're right. We should leave right now. Devin's head whips around to survey the area, but he seems quickly satisfied. I think we're safe, but it's best to be careful and hurry along. Alright, then let's go. I instinctively walk over to Devin and lean against him, moving my arm across his back again. Name, what are you doing? You still need help with walking, don't you? After all this, I can't have you falling over on me. Of course, sorry, I nearly forgot and it surprised me. I can't help but smile as how flustered he gets at this point, even though how horrible his night is gone. Even though we just met, Devin seems to enjoy being around me. I'm happy to think I could have made what must have been the worst day ever a bit brighter. Devin moves against my arms, and we begin to walk together again. Maybe it's from doing it before, but it feels easier this time. My house is just a few buildings down, so you don't have to wait too long. Then you could just stay with me for the night and call whoever you need to call in the morning. This is really too kind of you. I don't deserve it, but at the same time I can't reject the offer. Don't feel bad for it. I really do want to help you. Is there a reason why you want to help me? Or are you just the type of person who would help anyone? Devin's face looks a bit upset when he says this. Does he think I have weird motives? I'm not really sure. I just think that if I were in your shoes, I'd want someone to look out for me like this. I bet there's someone who would do anything for you. The strange compliment makes my heart thump quickly in my chest. I try to ignore it, but it's all I soon hear. It makes me feel a bit happy in some way, and I get flustered myself. To distract myself from the noise in my own head, I look out into the darkness, trying to search for any stalking figures. I make sure we aren't being followed, and there doesn't seem to be another soul in sight. For the past few weeks, I've constantly been seeing moving shadows and feeling eyes on the back of my head. But for the first time in a while, I don't feel anything at all. I feel safer. As I finally see the front of my house in view, I think the rest of this wild night is going to actually be okay. You have reached the end of the demo. Thank you, Name, for playing. Invite me in. Continue the game and see how the rest of the night unfolds later this year. The hearts above give you a clue to the path you were headed on. Ooh. Well, okay. So that's the demo. I mean, it's kind of clear that our stalker is Devin. Well, I guess it's not that clear, but I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming it's Devin. And I can't wait to see the rest of this game. I think it'll be really cool. Anyway, thanks for playing the demo with me. If you liked it, leave a like, maybe subscribe. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!